Okay, this section is section 6.2, and what we're going to be doing in this little section is finding the volume using what we call a disk method. Now, a disk is a circle, and so what's really happening is this. We're taking some kind of function. Here's your f of x, whatever height that is, and then we're going to revolve it around the x-axis. So when you do that, you revolve it around, and then you look at it head on, you're going to see a circle. And so we're using a disk or a circle. We're going to find that area of a circle, which is pi r squared, or in this case it's going to be pi times f of x squared. And then when you integrate that area, you'll get your volume. So here's our first one. We have y equals the square root of 6 plus 5x minus x squared, and we're going to revolve that around the x-axis from x equals -1 to +6. So think about volume. It's a circle, the area of the circle, and then take the integral. So I'm going to have the integral of pi. My r is just my function value, so that's going to be the square root of the 6 plus 5x minus x squared, and then square, and we're going around the x-axis, so I'll say dx. So again, pi r squared dx. And we're going to take that from -1 to 6. When I square a square root, it just takes the radical off. So really what I have is from -1 to 6, pi, and then this takes the radical off. That's just 6 plus 5x minus x squared dx. Let's integrate. We don't have to worry about the pi, just bring that out in front. And when you integrate here, you're going to get 6x plus 5x squared over the 2 minus, and then x cubed over 3. And we're going to take that from -1 to 6. And just plug in. So when I plug everything in, let's see what we got. First we'll plug in, don't forget the pi. And first we'll plug in our 6 for x. So that'll give us 36. Plug in your 6 here, and that gives you, it should give you a 90. Minus, plug in the 6 here, that gives us a 72. And then minus, now we'll plug in our -1, which gives us -6 plus 5 halves. And then that'll end up being a plus 1/3. And let's just pop that into your calculators and see what you've got. Here I'm getting 343. Don't forget the pi, all over 6. It's just a matter of plugging everything into that calculator carefully. So that's our first one. Again, you're just using the area of a circle, pi r squared, and then taking the integral of that, and that gives you that volume. So let's try another one. Again, around the x-axis. So here I have y is equal to x squared plus 2, and we're going to go from -1 for x to 3 for the x. Since we're revolving it around the x-axis, I'll just go from -1 to 3 pi, and my radius is just the function x squared plus 2, and then square that and around the x, so dx. We have to use FOIL to multiply that out. So that's going to be x to the 4th plus 2x squared plus another 2x squared is 4x squared plus 4 dx. And now we can integrate. So I have pi. When I take that integral, that's going to be x to the 5th over 5 plus 4x cubed over 3 plus 4x. And again, we're going from -1 to +3. And it's just a matter of plugging everything in now. First, we'll plug in our 3. So it'd be 3 to the 5th over 5, which is 243 over 5. Plus, and then we have 4 times 3 cubed over 3. That's going to give you 36. Plus, 4 times 3 is 12. Minus, and now we plug in our -1, which will give us -1/5, -4/3, and a -4. Pop all of that in to your calculator, very carefully distributing that negative, and I'm getting 1,532 pi all over 15 for that. All right, we have one more to do here in this little section, but this time we're going to change it up and revolve around the y-axis instead of the x-axis. So here my equation is going to be y equals x cubed, and giving the y values of y equals 1 and y equals 8. And we're going to rotate this around the y-axis this time. So instead of having it solved for y like it is here, we've got to solve this one for x. I'm going to take the cube root of both sides so that that will give me x to the 1 power equals the cube root of y. Or if you'd rather write that as y to the 1/3 power, that's the way I'm going to write it in there. And now that we have everything in terms of y, our limits of integration are in y, this is in terms of y, and we're going around the y-axis. Now I can pop this in. So we're going to take the integral from 1 to 8, pi r squared. Our r is this time going to be y to the 1/3 power. We have to square that, and we're going around the y, so I'll write dy. I'm integrating with respect to y this time. This will give me pi. When I square y to the 1/3, I'm going to get y to the 2/3 power. And now I can take my integral. And the integral here, we'll raise it by 1. That's going to give me pi times, let's see, y to the 5/3 times 3/5, again from 1 to 8. So that's 3 pi over 5. And then I have y to the 5/3. Let's go ahead and pop in our 8 first. So that's going to be 8 to the 5/3 power minus, and then we'll pop in our 1 to the 5/3 power. So 3 pi over 5 times, okay, the cube root of 8 is 2, and 2 to the 5th is 32. The cube root of 1 is 1. 1 to the 5th is 1. So this ends up just being 3 pi over 5 times 31, which will give us 93 pi over 5 for this volume. And so, yes, if you have to revolve your graph around the y-axis, solve for x. You need to have everything in terms of y in here, and then you just do the same thing, pi r squared, and you'll have it done.